Hello friends, today we will discuss 30 most expected MCQs from the chapter Human Reproduction, which are very important for your NEET 2021 and 22. First question is, which extra embryonic membrane in humans prevent desiccation of the embryo inside the uterus? The options are first yolk sac, second is amnion, third is chorion, and fourth is allantosis. Amnion, we know that it is extra embryonic membrane found by the amniogenic cells inside and outside is splanchnochloronic extraembryonic mesoderm, which is found outside. Now, this amnion surrounds the embryo, creating the amniotic cavity, and this cavity is filled with amniotic fluid. Now, this amniotic fluid, it serves as a shock absorber for the fetus and regulates the fetal body temperature, and so it prevents desiccation. So, this amniotic fluid is very important as it serves as a shock absorber and it prevents the fetus from desiccation. So the correct answer is amnion. Now, second question is, which part of the ovary in mammals acts as endocrine gland after ovulation? The options are stroma, germinal epithelium, vitelline membrane, and Graafian follicle. Now we know that this Graafian primary follicle, it develops into Graafian follicles. Now this Graafian follicle is fluid-filled capsule that surrounds and protects the developing egg cell inside the ovary during the menstrual cycle. This Graafian follicle, it represents the final stage of follicular development before ovulation, because this primary follicle, it matures into the Graafian follicle, and before ovulation, this is the primary stage. Now, after that, what happens? This Graafian follicle, it ruptures and it gives rise to ovum. Now, at ovulation, the stigma ruptures, releasing the secondary oocyte and corona radiata into the peritoneal cavity, which is to be taken up by the oviduct. Now, this zona pellucida and theca cells remaining in the tissue evolve into the corpus luteum, which is a temporary endocrine gland. And this corpus luteum, it secretes progesterone, and this progesterone, it prepares this endometrium for implantation. This corpus luteum also produces some estrogen. So this part of the ovary in mammals which acts as endocrine gland after ovulation is Graafian follicle. Third question is, the figure shows a selection of human ovary. Select the option which gives the correct identification of either A or B with function or characteristic. Now, first option is B is corpus luteum and function is it secretes progesterone. We know that corpus luteum secretes progesterone. Now, B option is A is tertiary follicle and it forms the Graafian follicle. We know that it is wrong because primary follicle forms the Graafian follicle. Now B is corpus luteum and it secretes estrogen. So this corpus luteum secretes, we know that corpus luteum secretes progesterone. D option is A is primary oocyte and it is in prophase. Now looking at the diagram, we can see it is the diagram of ovary. So looking at the diagram, we can see that this is B is corpus luteum, and we know that the function of the corpus luteum is it secretes progesterone, and this progesterone helps in implantation of this blastula into the endometrium. Now we know, so A is the correct answer. Now zona granulosa and theca cells of Graafian follicle, they remain in the ovary and after that they develop into corpus luteum, which is a temporary endocrine gland. Now this corpus luteum, it produces progesterone and this progesterone helps in implantation of the blastocyst into the endometrium and until the placenta is formed. Now, in the absence of fertilization, this corpus, the lifespan of corpus luteum is 14 days, and it then degenerates into corpus albicans, which is mainly a scar tissue. So this diagram, the B part is corpus luteum, and function is it secretes progesterone, which helps in further implantation. Next question is, in human adult female oxytocin, first, it stimulates the pituitary to secrete vasopressin. B, it causes strong uterine contraction during pasteurization. C is secreted by anterior pituitary. Fourth is stimulates the growth of mammary gland. Now we know that in adult human female, this oxytocin is a hormone which is released by pituitary gland and which is released by this neurohypophysis. Now the function of this is that it causes contraction of the uterus during labor and stimulates the milk flow from the breast by causing the contraction of the muscle fibers in the milk duct. So the correct option is that in adult females, oxytocin causes uterine contractions during pasteurization. So B is the correct answer. Now next question, which one of the following statement is incorrect about menstruation? We know that menstruation is the menstrual flow, entire menstrual cycle, which is of 28 to 30 days, which is occurring in female. Now we have to tell one statement which is incorrect. First is, at menopause in females, there is especially abrupt increase in gonadotropic hormones. Second is, the beginning of the cycle of menstruation is known as menarche. This is correct. We know that the beginning of the cycle, the starting of cycle is known as menarche. Third is, during normal menstruation, about 440 ml of blood is lost. And fourth is, the menstrual fluid can easily clot. So we know that all the three statements are correct. So the fourth one, that is menstrual flow can easily clot, is the correct answer. Now we know that menstruation is a process which involves discharge of blood. That is 45 to 100 ml of blood is discharged from the body, which is in the form of serous fluid, cell debris and mucosal fragments, and which is cast off from this endometrial lining is cast off and is thrown out of the body. And we know that blood clotting does not occur due to presence of this fibrolysins. So this is the incorrect statement, that menstrual cycle can easily clot. Now next question is, in humans at the age of the first meiotic division, the male germ cell differentiate into, first option is spermatids, second is spermatogonia, third is primary spermatocytes, and fourth is secondary spermatocytes. Now during embryonic development, we know that the primordial germ cells, they migrate to the testes where they become spermatogonia. Now at puberty, this spermatogonia, it proliferates rapidly by mitosis. Some undergo growth phase to become the primary spermatocytes that further undergo through meiotic division to become secondary spermatocytes. Now after completion of meiotic division, the secondary spermatocytes produce spermatids, and these spermatids, they differentiate to form spermatozoa. So in humans at the end of the first meiotic division, the male germ cells differentiate into secondary spermatocytes. So D is the correct answer. Now seventh question is, in humans, seventh question is, in humans at the end of first meiotic division, the male germ cells differentiate into, we know that it differentiates into secondary spermatocytes. Eighth question is, a change in the amount of yolk and its distribution in the egg will affect, first, pattern of cleavage, second, number of blastomeres produced, third is fertilization, and fourth is formation of zygote. So first of all, we should understand what is cleavage. Cleavage is a series of cell divisions by which a single fertilized egg cell is transformed into multicellular body, and this multicellular body is known as blastula. Now, characteristically, there is no growth occurs during this cleavage. Now, the shape of the embryo is unchanged except for the formation of central cavity, that is blastocele. So, central cavity is known as blastocele, and the ratio of nuclear material, that is DNA to cytoplasm, increases. The mode of cleavage is determined by the amount of yolk and its distribution. On this basis, cleavage may be holoblastic or meroblastic. So on the amount of distribution of the yolk, this cleavage can be divided into holoblastic or meroblastic. So option A is the correct answer. Now, ninth question is, which one of the following is most likely root cause why menstruation is not taking place regularly in human female? First is maintenance of hypertrophical endometrium lining. Second is maintenance of high concentration of sex hormone in the bloodstream. Third is retention of well-developed corpus luteum. And fourth is fertilization of the ovum. Now we know that high concentration of sex steroids or estrogen, they exert negative feedback on anterior pituitary and decrease the LH secretion and release, and thus lowering the LH level in the blood. Now, due to this insufficient LH level, that is luteinizing hormone, no ovulation occurs, which causes irregular menstruation. So the correct answer is maintenance of high concentration of sex hormone in the bloodstream. Next question is, seminal plasma in human male is rich in, first option is fructose and calcium. Second is glucose and calcium. Third is DNA and testosterone. And fourth is ribose and potassium. Now, we know that semen or seminal fluid or seminal plasma is the fluid which is ejaculated from the penis at sexual climax. Now, each ejaculate contains 300 to 500 million spermatozoa, and these spermatozoa are suspended in a fluid which is secreted by prostate gland and seminal vesicle. Now, it is rich, this fluid is rich in fructose, calcium, and certain enzyme. And another function is it provides a fluid medium for the transport of sperm, and it nourishes and activates the sperm. It also lubricates the reproductive tract of the female and neutralizes the acidity of vagina of the female to protect the sperms. So it also neutralizes the acidity of vagina so that the sperms can be protected. So option A is the correct answer. Next question is, vas efferentia are ductless leading from ductules leading from first testicular lobules to retitestes, second retitestes to vas deferens, third is vas deferens to epididymis, fourth is epididymis to urethra. Now we know that these seminiferous tubules, these are closed at one end, but on the other side they join to a network, the retitestes, from where fine ciliated ductules, the vas efferentia, arise. Now these cilia help in conducting the sperm. The retitestes is a network of tubules conducting sperm from seminiferous tubule of the testes to vas efferentia. So option B, that is retitestes to vas deferens, is the correct answer. Now question 12 is, Sertoli cells are found in first ovaries and secrete progesterone, second adrenal cortex and secrete adrenaline, third is seminiferous tubule and provide nutrition to germ cell, fourth is pancreas and secrete cholecystokinin. Now Sertoli cells, these are found in the walls of seminiferous tubule of the testes, and compared with the germ cells, they appear very large and pale. Now they anchor and nourish the developing germ cells, especially the spermatids, which partially embedded within them. So these Sertolite cells are found in seminiferous tubule, and what is the function? They provide nutrition to germ cells. 14th question is, what happens during fertilization in humans after many sperms reach close to the ovum? Now, first is secretion of acrosome helps one sperm to enter cytoplasm of the ovum through zona pellucida. Second option is all sperm except the one nearest to the ovum lose their tails. Third is cells of corona radiata trap all the sperms except one. And fourth is only two sperms nearest the ovum penetrate the zona pellucida. So we know what is fertilization? Fertilization is the fusion of the sperm with ovum. Now this zona pellucida is the outermost layer of ovum. Now what happens during fertilization? A sperm comes in contact with the ovum and it comes in contact with the outermost layer, that is zona pellucida layer, and it induces changes in the membrane that block the entry of additional sperm. Thus, it ensures that only one sperm can fertilize an ovum. Now, the secretion of acrosome, they help the sperm to enter the cytoplasm ovum through this zona pellucida and plasma membrane. In contact with the surface of the egg covering, this acrosome releases its hydrolytic enzyme that also causes sperm lysins. Now, it is known as acrosomal reaction. So, this is the correct answer for secretion of acrosome help in one sperm to enter cytoplasm through zona pellucida. Now, 15th question is, the testes in humans are situated outside the abdominal cavity inside a pouch called scrotum. The purpose served is for first maintaining the scrotum temperature lower than the internal body temperature. Second, escaping any possible compression by visceral organs. Third, providing more space for the growth of epididymis. And fourth is providing a secondary sexual feature for exhibiting the male sex. Now we know that these testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity within a pouch which is known as scrotum. Now, this scrotum serves a special function, that is, it helps in maintaining the lower temperature of the testes, that is 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade lower than the normal body temperature, because this temperature is the temperature which is necessary for spermatogenesis. So this is the function of the scrotum. So option A is the correct answer. Now, next question is, if for some reason the vas efferentia in the human reproductive system gets blocked, the gametes will not be transported from first testes to epididymis, second is epididymis to vas deferens, third is ovary to uterus, and fourth is vagina to uterus. Now we know that the male sex accessory ducts, they include retitestes, vas efferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. So these are the four parts which are in male accessory ducts. Now the seminiferous tubule of the testes, we know that they open in vas efferentia through this retitestes. The vas efferentia leave the testes and open into epididymis located along the posterior surface of each testes. So if vas efferentia is blocked, the gametes will not be transported from the testes to epididymis. So for some reason, if this vas efferentia is blocked, what will happen? The gametes will not be transported from these testes to epididymis, as a result of which there will be no fertilization. Next question is, the secretory phase in human menstrual cycle is also known as first luteal phase and it lasts for 6 days, second follicular phase and it lasts for 6 days, third is luteal phase and it lasts for 13 days, and fourth is follicular phase and it lasts for 13 days. Now we know that after ovulation, which is the middle of the menstrual cycle, this Graafian follicle, it continues to grow under the influence of this LH, that is luteinizing hormone. Now these follicular cells, they are converted into lutein cell by deposition of yellowish lipid inclusion. This phenomena is known as luteinization. Now the ruptured follicle is now known as corpus luteum, and it secretes hormone that is progesterone and a small quantity of estrogen. Both LH and progesterone, they help in the growth and further thickening of this endometrium and further help in implantation. So the uterine wall becomes ready for nourishing and anchoring blastocyst if fertilization takes place. Hence, this phase of menstrual cycle is called luteal or secretory phase, and this phase lasts for 13 days. That is from 15 to 28 days of the menstrual cycle. So option C is the correct answer. Now, next question is, gonads develop from embryonic, first ectoderm, second endoderm, third mesoderm, and fourth both mesoderm and endoderm. Now we know that there are three layers in an organism, that is ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. We know that this outermost layer, that is ectoderm, it produces liver, epidermis, glands, hairs, nervous system, whereas this endoderm inner layer produces pancreas, lining of urinary bladder, etc. And middle layer, that is mesoderm, it produces dermis, muscles, kidneys, gonads, etc. So these gonads develop from embryonic mesoderm. 19th question is, extra embryonic membrane of mammalian embryo are derived from first inner cell mass, second is trophoblast, third is formative cell, and fourth is follicular cell. Now we know that there are four extra embryonic membrane which are present in the mammals, and these originally arise from trophoblast, that is amnion, chorion, allantois, and yolk cell. Now the trophoblast is the outermost layer of the cell in morula. So option B is the correct answer. Next question is, cleavage in mammalian egg is superficial meroblastic, discoidal meroblastic, unequal holoblastic, and equal holoblastic. Now we know that cleavage in human zygote is holoblastic. Now what does this holoblastic mean? Holoblastic means that it divides the zygote and blastomeres completely into daughter cell, but it is unequal in as the blastomeres differ in size. So the cleavage is unequal holoblastic. Next question is, during embryonic development, the establishment of polarity along anterior, posterior, dorsal ventral or medial lateral axis is called first pattern formation, second is organizer phenomena, third is axial formation, and fourth is anamorphosis. Now, an organizer is a signal aligning the center that directs the development of embryo or part of embryo. Example, in amphibians, it is dorsal lip of blastopore. So this option B, that is organizer phenomena, is the correct answer. Next, 22nd question is, in human adult female oxytocin, first stimulates pituitary to secrete vasopressin. Second, it causes strong uterine contraction during pasteurization. Third, is secreted by anterior pituitary. And fourth, stimulates growth of mammary gland. Now, in adult human female, we know that auxin is a hormone which is released by pituitary gland, that is neurohypophysis, and it causes contraction of the uterus during labor, and it also stimulates the milk flow from the breast, causing contraction of muscle. So B is the correct answer. 23rd question is, in humans, at the end of first meiotic division, the male germ cells differentiate into spermatids, spermatogonia, primary spermatocytes, and secondary spermatocytes. So we know that during embryonic development, they undergo various meiotic division and they finally develop into secondary spermatocytes. A change in the amount of yolk and its distribution in the egg will affect first a pattern of cleavage, number of blastomeres produced, third fertilization, and fourth is formation of zygote. We know that cleavage is a series of cell division by which a single cell fertilized egg cell is transformed into multicellular body, and this is known as blastula. Now, characteristically, no growth occurs during cleavage. The shape of the embryo is unchanged except for the formation of the cavity, which is known as blastocele, and ratio of the DNA to cytoplasm increases. So, a change in the amount of yolk and distribution in the egg will affect pattern of cleavage. So, A is the correct answer. 25th question is colostrum contains which antibody? IgA, IgE, IgG, and IgH. We know that colostrum is the milk which is produced first after pasteurization. So it contains IgA as it provides resistance to the child and it increases the immunity of the child. 26th question is the first movement of the fetus and appearance of hairs on the head are usually observed during which month of pregnancy? First option is 4th month, 5th month, 6th month, and 3rd month. Now, in human beings, we know after 1 month of pregnancy, the embryo heart is formed. By the 2nd month of pregnancy, the fetus develops the limbs and digits. By the end of 12th month, major organs are formed. After 5th month, the first movement of fetus and appearance of his head are observed. And by the end of 24 weeks, the body is covered with hairs, eyelids, and separate eyelashes. So the correct answer is 5th month. 27th question is the signals for pasteurization originate from first placenta only, second is placenta as well as fully developed fetus, third is oxytocin released from maternal pituitary, and fourth is fully developed fetus only. So first of all, we should understand what is this pasteurization. Pasteurization, it is a process of delivery of the fetus. Now the signals for pasteurization originate from the fully developed fetus and placenta, and what they do, they induce the uterine contraction and they cause fetal ejection reflex. Now this fetal ejection reflex, it triggers the release of oxytocin hormone from the pituitary. This in turn leads to expulsion of the baby out of the uterus. So this oxytocin and fetal ejection reflex is responsible for the expulsion of baby out of the uterus. So answer B is the correct answer. Next question is which of one of the following is not the function of placenta? First, it secretes estrogen. Second, it facilitates removal of carbon dioxide and waste material from embryo. Third, it secretes oxytocin during pasteurization. And fourth is it facilitates supply of oxygen and nutrients to the embryo. Now we know that function of placenta is it facilitates the supply of oxygen and nutrients to the embryo, and it also removes the carbon dioxide and excretory waste material from the body. So option C is the correct answer. Next question is which of these is not an important component of initiation of pasteurization in humans? First is synthesis of prostaglandin, second is release of oxytocin, third is release of prolactin, and fourth is increase in estrogen and progesterone ratio. Now the role of prolactin is not concerned with the initiation of pasteurization in humans, and prolactin is responsible for milk synthesis in the mammary gland. Now, when the level of estrogen and progesterone become low at pasteurization, the anterior pituitary, it activates to release this prolactin. So option C is the correct answer, that is release of prolactin. Now the last question is signals for pasteurization originate from first both placenta as well as fully developed fetus. B is oxytocin released from maternal pituitary. Third is placenta only. and fourth is fully developed fetus only. Now we know that pasteurization is the phenomena of giving birth to a child. Now the signals for childbirth, they originate from fully developed fetus and placenta, and which induce the mild uterine contraction, and these contractions are known as fetal ejection reflex. So signals for pasteurization, they originate from both placenta as well as fully developed fetus. So option A is the correct answer. So please like, comment, share and subscribe my channel so that we can bring more videos which will be helpful for your NEET exam.